Our formidable adversary, the rabbis teach, is our Yetzer Hara, our evil inclination. Often this power seems stronger than our own impulse to do good. How then to resist, to survive, to triumph? Through faith in the redeeming power that enables us to transcend who we are now and to strive for what we may yet become. Mi Chamocha, page 728.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh felen, malechutecha ra'u v'necha, Hayam lifnei Moshe Zelianu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch le'olam Adonai et Yaakov uge'alo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch ata Adonai Gad
The rabbis give us a prayer always at night called the Hashkivenu. May we lie down in peace and rise up again renewed. That may sleep do what sleep is most, the only thing that's able to do it quite as well as sleep, and that is to heal us, to allow our bodies time and enough energy, because we're not doing something else, to really recuperate, to heal, to our cells have the energy to heal. We know that there are many kinds of healing that need to happen in our community: physical, emotional, psychological, spiritual. So we ask for healing for all of those in our community. So if you will hold in your care someone who needs tonight your thoughts and prayers for their wholeness and wellness. We as a community are holding in our care Reuben Freed, Harold Burlack, Joyce Snyder, Linda Joy Tacconi, Barbara Miller, Jackson Blumenthal, Sylvia Schneiderman, Carol Federman, Faye Kagan, Marcia Lieber, Dale Cowan, Gershon Lewis, Roxanne Davis, June Wexler, Mary Kahn Tuckman, Jean Peerless Strauss, Janine Pierce, Julie Lowry, Blossom Trustman, Nicole Lieben, Helen Strauss, Dan Kogan, Trula Marcus, Larry Rosenstein, Rick Leslie, Chana Freya Epstein. We pray always for healing for those who struggle against addiction, and we pray for courage for those in recovery. Are there other people for whom we're saying healing prayers tonight? Hashkivenu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu l'chaim ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha Ushmor tzeiteinu uvainu l'chaim u'l'shalom me'ata aleinu sukat shlomecha, sukat shlomecha.
Give us this night time to lie in peace. May we rise to new life each day, and let there be shelter for the broken-hearted, a shelter of peace for all. And guard our going, our coming home, filled with life and peace, now and ever on. And let there be shelter for the broken-hearted, a shelter of love for all. And let there be shelter, a shelter of love for all. A shelter of love for all. This, by the way, is Peggy Baldwin.
Who brings so much with her into
I
our
have no
space.
words for her. She's amazing. You'll give her a big hug afterwards. Peggy Baldwin, our cellist.
We'll turn to page 740. It is our time to turn inward, our time to spend time in the Sukkot Shalom that we create here for each other, this shelter of safety and love and peace that we create so that we are safe to turn within and really see what we find inside, which we don't take a lot of time in our very busy lives to do. So this Kol Nidre night, allow yourself a look as the waters settle at what's at the very bottom of your heart, because we don't really get a chance to see that terrain very often. We will stand as we are able. If your standing will detract from your prayer, then remain seated, but we rise if we are able for the Amidah, which we will engage with silently. There are meditations in your prayer book. There are teachings in your prayer book. There are alternative Amidot in your prayer book. You may use the prayer book and the words you find there, or simply use this time for your own meditation, and you may be seated when you have finished your private prayer. Page 740.
Ose shalom, shalom, shalom. Bimroma huyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen.
We have the absolute best seat in the house here. You cannot imagine how beautiful you are. You are so white and pure and gentle and quiet and open. It is fantastic this night that we share together. And the rabbis give us these beautiful practices of things like wearing white, if we choose to do that, so that we can remember the really important message of Yom Kippur, which is that we are all, each of us, equal and equally precious, as the rabbis say, in the eyes of the Holy One, because we are each an image and an expression of the divine moving through this world, an expression that will only happen once. You will only happen once. That is a remarkable thing, and something that we are to remember at this time of year when we're trying to change. Because it's very easy for us to treat people differently. As our young people said in their prayers at the family service, it is easy to treat people differently based, or value people differently based on what they have or what they wear. Because that's what we do. We're human, and it happens. And so the rabbis give us this amazing practice of wearing white to remind us. Some of us wear traditionally the burial shroud in which we will be laid to rest, so that we remember that we are all fragile and we are all the same in that we are mortal. And also the rabbis give us this practice so that we can remember we're also a little like the angels and have the capacity to be pure and good. The whole idea of fasting is the idea of bringing us into an intense relationship with that idea of our own godliness and the godliness of the people around us. Because if we really go there, if we really go to that place, ve'ahavta l're'echa kamocha, treating the person you find yourself dealing with as if you loved them, what would our community look like? What would our families look like? What would that bring to the world? In reading an article about civility, one of the authors was saying that this time of dealing with technology has made us even less civil in our daily interactions with each other. Our texting, our emailing, often we just fire off a response and we don't take time to think about how it is we want to communicate, how we want to talk, how we want to treat other people. We're busy and we're distracted by our screens. If you look outside at the banner created by our OJE kids, our kids who go to camp once a month instead of coming here every week, they created a banner out there about what they want to ask forgiveness for. Other than the kid who wrote, "I stole candy," most of them, that's probably some of y'all, most of them wrote about, "I was mean to my brother or sister," or "I was not nice to my parents. I'm sorry that I was angry at mommy. I'm sorry for slamming the door on my sister. I'm sorry I got bossy and said mean things about my BFF. Go read it. They get it. That the way we mess up the most, the thing they're so instantly sorry for, if they had to pick one, is the way they're not nice to their siblings, to the people they find themselves in closest proximity to. Ve'ahavta l're'echa kamocha. You have to figure out how to love or treat as if you loved the people we find ourselves closest to. We don't choose them. They're given to us. So these high holy days are all about getting in touch with the ways that we're doing that, the ways that we are not treating each other the way we want. So they get it. It's about treating their parents and siblings and friends a certain way or not treating them a certain way. What would we parents and partners say? Grandparents, bosses. Well, what would we say about how we treat other people? Would it be number one on our list of awareness that what we do wrong most often is not treat each other very nicely? I had a child recently in my office crying about how hard it was at home with each of his parents, crying in my office about how angry Dad is, about how stressed Mom is, crying because what it meant is that he gets treated in a way that's really hurtful a lot of the time. This is what we do to the people we love the most. This is how we treat the people we love the most, and we get it. We get how it happens. We get why it happens. So I'm going to offer you the words of Rabbi Naomi Levy, a parent's prayer for patience. When my child tests me, teach me, God, how to respond with wisdom. When I grow irritable, send me patience. When my fury rages, teach me the power of restraint. When I become fixed in my ways, teach me to be more flexible. When I take myself too seriously, bless me with a sense of humor. And when I'm exhausted, fill me with strength. When I am stubborn, teach me how to bend. When I act hypocritically, help me to align my deeds with my values. When mundane pressures threaten to overwhelm me, help me to remember how truly blessed I am. When I lose my way, God, guide me on the road back to joy, back to love, back to peace, back to you. You can download it from the internet and put it on your bathroom mirror. For whoever you're dealing with, it doesn't have to be parents with children. Because this is the critical teaching that when we treat each other as if we loved one another, we don't have to. That's the beauty. You just have to treat each other like you do. When we do that, we create a different kind of community, and we habituate ourselves to taking something else into the world than what we see in the headlines. And we never know the impact of treating people with respect, welcoming people who we don't know, who are different from us, who are strangers. We never know the impact that we have. So imagine that you're getting an email from someone you had an impact on, as I share one with you. We took a cruise, some of us, to Europe. Ki went cruising in July on a Jewish heritage cruise. And part of our observance was Shabbat on the boat and Havdalah, which we made on the boat. Stuart Tenzer had struck up a conversation with a reverend from the United Church of Canada who was on the boat. And in his friendly Stuart Tenzer style was chatting away and said, "You got to meet our rabbi. She's on the boat." And so we had a lovely conversation. And in the course of that conversation, we invited, his name is Murray. We invited Murray to join us for Havdalah because he's a minister and he was talking about how lovely it was that we were doing this Jewish heritage thing. And so we invited him to Havdalah. He was on sabbatical at the time, and it was coming to the end of his sabbatical. So I got an email that said, "Hello, Amy. This is the last day of my sabbatical, and I've been doing some reflection about the entire experience. One of the memories that I hold to is sharing with your community in Havdalah on the upper deck of our ship. It was a very special night for me. Meeting you and members of your community and being invited to join with you in your Sabbath celebration was a spiritually moving experience for me, and one that I will remember for a long, long time. Your words during that worship helped me to see how closely connected we all are as we worship the one and only God. And being able to sing with all of you added immensely to that experience. There are many thoughts and experiences from my sabbatical time that I want to take into my ministry, and one of those is the worship on the ship with you and your community, and the friendship which we shared during that cruise. I wish only that we had more time to know each other and share in the experiences of ministry. He then asked me to send him Havdalah, because he wanted to come back from his sabbatical and make Havdalah with his community, to make a distinction between his time off and his time back at work with them. So he asked me for it, I sent it to him, and he was absolutely thrilled that he could make Havdalah and that he could help teach his congregation at the following. He said, I pray that you and the members of your community were enriched by your experiences in Europe, and that you can take those gifts back to California and the rest of your community, and that your ministry and mission will grow and be pleasing to the one in whom we live and move and have our being. He wanted his community out of that experience to know also how we are one, how we all worship the one in just different ways, in amazing and wonderful different ways. We just don't know how welcoming people, how treating someone as if we loved them, as if we respected them, whoever they are, wherever they come from. We don't know the kind of impact that can have. But the rabbis believe that that is the way that we create Yemei HaMashiach, the Messianic age. We as progressive Jews don't wait for a Mashiach. We know that we have to bring the Messianic age ourselves. May your practice this Yom Kippur, your fasting, your reflection, your being together in this gentle and amazing community, may your time really help all of us, not just you, may it help all of us open, truly open, so that we can go out in this world and out of our own celebration of these holy days in this sacred community, contribute to a world that is closer to peace. I wish you Shabbat Shalom, good Yontif, and a meaningful fast.
On Rosh Hashanah, I had the opportunity to share with you and many of you a new Ahavat Olam that I set and wrote for our Rabbi Stephen in recognition of his retirement. And I thought that perhaps we would do it tonight, and because we have Peggy here on cello, but I must also tell you that I'm not used to writing choral music, and this was a piece that was done with our fantastic choir. And I delivered what was, I would say, a pretty rough piece to our accompanist, my music director, Michael Asher, who wrote a choral piece, wrote the choral parts, and really turned it into something that I had not imagined. And so Michael deserves much of the credit for this piece. It's an Ahavat Olam, and we will And although I had Stephen in mind, Rabbi Stephen in mind, when I wrote this piece, this is a piece of liturgy about how God loves the world by giving us Torah. And I think that our rabbis, including our wonderful Rabbi Amy, brings us Torah and love and blessings. And so although it sounds as though I was a little confused. Well, are you talking about God or are you talking about the rabbi, Julie? That was the first, that's what I thought to myself. Well, you know what? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. For bringing Torah, Rabbi. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadita How you bless us, how you teach us, how you love us everlastingly. When darkness surrounds us, when life confounds us, you are the rising of the sun. Amchavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadita. We thank you for Torah, for the sweetness and the song. And we will walk in your ways through the life and the length of our days. May you never take your love away. Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadita. Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael.
Someone's calling. We are moving into the poetry of the rabbis for this day, the Ya'aleh. And the poet, northern Minnesota poet, the late Ruth Bryn, wrote a poem entitled Ya'aleh. Night and day follow one another like the coils of a tightly wound spring. So nearly identical, one forgets the power for change that lies within them. The years follow one another so close and so alike that 40 years in the wilderness seemed to Moses like a flight on eagle's wings. The day, Yom Kippur, is like a person's life. It begins in darkness and ends in darkness. It has a time to prepare, a time to labor, and a time to reflect before the closing of the gates. The years follow one another, alike as the coils of a tightly wound spring. But on Yom Kippur, we think of our power to release that spring, to soar upward.
Ya'aleh Yisheinu me'erev ve'avot yoreinu miboker Ya'aleh koleinu
me'erev ve'avot yikateinu miboker ve'avos lichatenu miboker v'yirah nakatenu Page 812. We chant the 13 attributes of God, calling on those energies in this universe to help us to change, to do teshuvah, to be different in this coming year. We rise for the 13 attributes on page 812.
Adonai, Adonai,
El Rachum v'Chanun
No tzech chesed lo nafil, no se'avon b'fesha v'chata'a v'nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'chanun, Erech apayim v'rav chesed ve'emet. No tzech chesed lo nafil, no se'avon b'fesha v'chata'a
Page 814, the central prayer really of these Yamim Noraim, Shema Kolenu. May God hear our voice, Chus v'rachem aleinu, and be gentle and merciful with us.
Shema Koleinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus v'rachem aleinu, rachem aleinu. Shema Koleinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus v'rachem aleinu, rachem aleinu, v'kabel b'rachamim uvratzon et tefilatenu, tefilatenu, hashivenu Adonai elecha, v'nashuva chadesh yameinu kekedem. Shema Koleinu, Adonai, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus v'rachem aleinu, rachem aleinu. Shema Koleinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus v'rachem aleinu, rachem aleinu. Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu.
Page 820, our first communal confession, the Ashamnu.
Lai la lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la lai 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 Ashamnu
Ashamnu,
Bagadnu
Bagadnu,
Gazalnu
Gazalnu,
הסרנו דופי.